Welcome back. Recaps here. Today, I will be explaining a movie titled The Wretched. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, take care. 35 years ago, the movie opens to a girl walking in the rain. She enters into a house and it seems like no one is around. She makes a phone call to her mom, and from their conversation, we know that she's there to babysit. She hears a noise downstairs and decides to check it out. She sees a broken family picture of the couple living in the house, with the father's face scratched off. She moves further down the stairs and sees the woman in the picture we saw earlier, eating her child. She looks back and sees her. The girl tries to run back upstairs, but was ambushed by the man. Her screams is the last thing we hear. Back to the present, the scene opens to 5 days earlier, as we see Ben sitting on a bus. An old woman compliments him on being a good artist. He looks at her, and we see that there's a drawing on his cast. Later that night, we see Ben's dad, Liam, cooking in the kitchen, as he just went through a divorce with his wife. Ben opens the refrigerator and sees a picture of him and his parents. The next morning, Ben follows his dad to work at the seaport. Ben meets Mallory, who appears to be working for his dad. They chat a little before Ben sees his dad kissing one of the employees. Later on, we see a man entering a house with a baby in his hand. He calls his wife, Abby, who is seen preparing to gut a buck she hits with her car on her way home. She cuts the buck's stomach but is grossed out by the smell. At noon, we see a creature crawling out of the animal guts. Ben hears something on the roof and goes out to check it. He hears a noise coming from their neighbor's apartment and he goes there, only to find a part of the porch patched with planks broken. Abby's husband turns on the light suddenly and asks what he wants. He apologizes for disturbing them and goes back to their apartment. The following morning, Ben asks his father about Sarah, the lady he saw him with, and he says he should meet her. His father seems to be happy about this, and he says they should have dinner together with Sarah. Later on, Ben sees their neighbor's son, Dillian, sleeping in one of the boats. He wakes him and gives him the key to a fridge filled with popsicles in the cafeteria. Ben later goes to a shop to pick up some food for dinner. Mallory meets him there and invites him to a party that night. He declines because he has dinner already planned out with his dad and Sarah, but he later changes his mind and follows them to the party. Ben and Mallory sits down separately from the others at the party. He pukes as they try to kiss, a result of too much alcohol he has taken. One of the girls from the party offers him water and draws him into the pool, and he takes off his clothes. The other guys arrives and teased Ben. He realized that he has been pranked. This made Mallory angry as she leaves the party without saying anything to him. The movie continues as we see Abby wake up to check her crying baby in the other room. She stops at the door when she notices that the baby is no longer crying and heads back to bed. We then see a creature on the screen connected to the camera in the baby's room, hiding behind the baby's crib. Later that night, Abby gets up again to check on her baby. This time around, the baby is quiet. She enters the baby's room and sees something wrapped in a cloth in place of the baby. She removes the cloth and sees bunch of twigs on the bed instead of her baby. Suddenly, the creature grabs her legs and pulls her under the baby's crib. We see Ben arriving home that night. He sees Abby carrying something and heading into the forest. His father arrives, and they both entered. He demands he apologizes to Sarah for missing the dinner they planned to have. Frustrated, Ben gets pissed, and he says mean words about Sarah, without realizing that she's still in the house. In the following morning, we see Abby's son, Dillian, looking for her, while carrying a bunny in his hand. He sees his mom, who appears to be possessed by the creature, standing in front of a curtain. Later that day, Ben closes for the day, and his father asks Sarah to drive him along, since they are heading the same way. He apologizes to her in the car, and they plan to have another dinner together. Ben gets back home and meets Dillian in his room. Dillian tells him not to let his mom in. Ben goes downstairs and sees Abby outside. He tells her Dillian is not in with him, but she insists that he's there. She tries to force her way in, but Ben stops her. She then tells Ben that he's stupid and that she will break his other arm. Abby's husband, who appears to be normal, joins them, and he takes Dillian home. Next, we see Dillian telling his dad that Abby is acting weird, but he shrugged it off as no big deal. The next day, Ben goes over to check on Dillian. When he asks Abby's husband, he seems clueless and tells Ben he doesn't have a son. He tells him to go away as he closes the door. As he was about to leave, Ben sees an unusual marking on the porch of Abby's apartment. Later that day, we see him doing some research and discovers that the marking is connected to an evil witch, notorious for making people forget those they love. In the next scene, we see Abby's husband mowing the lawn in an unusual way. Ben breaks into Abby's cellar, and he sees a wood-like mask, shaped in form of a weird-looking animal. He sees the picture of Abby and her family, with the face of her husband scratched off. He looks further and sees the picture of Mallory's sister, Lily, with the face of Mel, and her mom scratched off also. He calls Mel and tries to warn her, but Mallory doesn't remember who Lily is. He rushes to the beach to save Lily, and he sees Abby taking her into the forest. He follows them and tries to grab her hand, but the creature dragged her away. Ben hits his head on a stone and passes out. We see Ben reach home at night. It appears Abby made a complaint to the police about Ben breaking into her property. He tells his dad about Abby, but he doesn't believe him. He thinks his son is on drugs. Later, Ben has a chat with Sarah in the kitchen and finds out that the creature is now inside of her. She tries to attack him, but he defends himself with a knife. His dad enters the kitchen and sees what happened. He calls the cop and they take Ben away. The policeman drives him to the beach and tries to drown him. It appears that he's under the influence of the creature. Ben begs him not to kill him. The policeman tries to resist the creature's mind control and shots himself. The movie continues as Liam goes to the cellar to see for himself if Ben is telling the truth. He finds nothing there. He sees Abby's husband coming out of the garage and he enters there. He sees the same pictures Ben saw earlier in the movie. He also sees the picture of him, Ben, and his wife with all their faces scratched off. Suddenly, he's stabbed from behind by the creature. He defends himself and knocks down the mask off the creature's face. He sees that the creature is inside of Sarah. She attacks him and tries to kill him. He's saved by Ben, who fired shots at Sarah, killing her. We then see the creature slithering out of Sarah's body. Fire from the knockdown candles starts burning the pictures in the garage. We see a picture of Ben and his parents with a little boy getting burned. Ben then realizes that he has a little brother named Nathan with him the whole time. The creature made him forget about his brother. He hears Nathan scream and he rushes there to save him. The creature already dragged Nathan into the forest. Ben meets Mallory and they both go after the creature. They see a tree similar to the one the creature dragged Lily into. They pour salt and gasoline around it. Ben tells Mallory to burn the tree if he doesn't come out in 10 minutes. He enters and sees Nathan strapped to the tree vines. He releases him from the tree and they start heading out. He hears a noise and sees the creature eating Dillian. The creature attacks him and he defends himself by shooting it. They run to the tree's entrance and Mallory pulls Nathan out. Ben goes back to look for Mallory's sister, Lily. He sets her free from the tree vines and pulls her up to Mallory. The creature grabbed his legs as he was about to get out, trying to drag him back inside. Mallory pours salt on its face. Ben's dad is seen driving his car at high speed. He hits the creature, killing it instantly. The following morning, we see Ben and Mallory saying their goodbyes as they kissed and he goes away with his family. Mallory and the kid sits on a boat and they appear to be in the middle of the sea. She gives a smirk as the scene closes. Thanks for watching. See you soon.